Brad Yeomans, and I am giving an informative speech today about manual cars. People nowadays are soft, and anyone who can reach the pedals of a car can drive anywhere they want, but it wasn't always easy like this. The topic I chose today is how to drive a manual car. Although I'm not very old, I grew up learning how to drive cars by driving a stick shift, thus making me quite fond and educated on this topic with my prior knowledge. Although most teens will not have to drive a stick shift, there is a lot of older cars on the road as well as trucks that use this kind of transmission, and understanding how they work will make drivers a lot safer. The first point I'll bring up is how to drive a stick shift, followed by why they went out of style with some pros and cons. Finally, how to spot and drive carefully around a manual car. With all the new cars pushing all the old stick shifts out, it's still important to know some of the facts about them to make sure you don't cause an accident. While learning how to drive a manual transmission can be hard, once you understand its steps, it becomes easy and you gain muscle memory. Unlike getting into an automatic car and driving off, there are certain steps you have to take to be able to get to your destination. According to drivetest.org, there are 6 steps to follow to drive a manual car. Press the clutch to the floorboard and make sure you're in neutral. Turn the key and release the clutch while the vehicle is running. Press the brake and the clutch pedal while positioning the gear shifter into first gear. Remove your foot from the brake pedal and put your foot on the gas pedal. Slowly press the gas pedal in while letting off one of the brakes until you feel yourself moving forward. Once you get going fast enough, take your foot off the gas, press in the clutch while positioning the gear shifter into second, then slowly letting off the clutch and pressing the gas pedal again. Although many people are intimidated by the sight of 3 pedals, once one gets the hang of driving a stick shift, it becomes second nature. According to MetroMile.com, with practice and advice from people who have been driving a stick shift for a long period of time, driving becomes a muscle memory. From growing up driving a manual car to driving automatic cars for many years now, I can still get in a manual car and still have that same muscle memory to be able to drive it. Just like anything, practice makes perfect, and this is the case with that, but it makes you wonder what happened to him. When you go to a dealership to buy a new car, there's a very high chance you will only be able to choose one kind of transmission because automatic transmissions have pushed manuals out of the lot. The history of manual transmission goes way back to when cars first started to become what we know of today. According to NewOldsClub.com, in 1920, Cadillac was the first car maker to make a car with a reliable manual transmission. By the late 1990s to early 2000s, with advancements in technology, manual transmissions slowly faded out with more reliable automatic transmissions. There are many pros and cons when it comes to having a manual transmission. According to itsoruns.com, a pro to driving a manual transmission car is that it gets better fuel economy and is typically cheaper than an automatic car. Manual cars have been found to have better control since you get to choose what gear you're in. Also on the site, it stated that some of the pros and cons are that it is an inconvenience because you must do the shifting yourself. Manual car owners also must learn how to operate one safely, which can take a few weeks costing time. With better understanding of the good and bad of driving a manual transmission, the last piece of information is how to be aware of them on the road. When driving on the road, it is better to be aware of manual cars and trucks since they drive differently than an automatic transmission does, and knowing this can help you drive safer. What are some of the signs that indicate it's a manual transmission car? One of the biggest signs that a car is a manual is age. Typically older cars are manual since a lot of them were built back when. When you hear a car revving up loudly or lurching forward, it is a good sign it's a manual since this is how these types of transmissions shift. What are some of the safe driving techniques around manual transmission cars? According to DefensiveDriving.com, it claims that a lot of accidents are caused by drivers getting too close to manual cars on hills that have a stop sign up at the top, and therefore plenty of room should be left. When I learned how to drive a manual car, hills were the worst part for me because gravity pulls the car back, so you have to be fast to get the car rolling, otherwise you will stall the car or roll back into the person behind you. The more people are aware that not everyone just pushes one pedal to go forward, more people will understand why people drive the way they do. While learning how to drive a manual transmission can be hard at first, over time your body forms muscle memory and it becomes second nature to you. Because of advancements in automatic transmission, the manual was pushed aside and people's lives became less inconvenient, with there being no transmission to shift and the computer doing it for you. Finally, being aware of manual cars around you while driving and giving them plenty of space on the hills to prevent them from rolling back into you makes the roads a lot safer. With driving cars being related to freedom, is it really freedom if the computer does all the work for you?